Hey, Derek. Hey, Gabe.
Hello, good morning,
Good morning.
or afternoon, or evening, or tomorrow, wherever you are in the future. I thought I'd try a different backdrop. Oh, more people.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can hear me now. Okay, I'm back here.
Oh, okay. I wasn't, it's hard to tell where the sound is coming from.
Hey, doggies. It's okay. Let's just stay.
Okay, looks like, yeah. Got everybody in here.
Gabe, can I ask you something before? You can feel free to pull your chair up closer. Okay.
Yes. Although I can hear you pretty amazingly well for how far back you are.
Okay. Can't really see you either. Oh, this is cozy. Here I am. All right. So how many people do we have here today?
So it's about 10 because one of these is AI, but they're actually not here, so that counts as another person. Actually, yeah, I see 11 in my count.
Is Martine here today?
Not currently, but I guess since there's two of you there, that makes 12.
Yeah, I was just curious.
And if we count Julio's dog, that's 13.
I was just wondering if I was talking to like thousands of people right now, or maybe millions.
We have to count my dog too.
Oh.
He's next to me asleep. So then that's 13, 14.
Okay. All right.
I do see Bina in the participants there. So I see 9 screens, and then there's a few that are either on the phone. But I totally, I mean, with this conversation, like we are like present here, but we're talking like to and throughout time, with the perspectives and the conversation that we're having, right, is literally like about a joyful immortality. And so I at least am always considering that I'm talking to more than just the people right here, right? And yes, because it's recorded, and 2, because we are a small group of committed people dedicated to changing the world, right? And that that makes it relevant and I think historic in itself. But not to unduly pat ourselves on the back, but this is a very small group of highly committed, intelligent, dedicated people. It is very rare to gather everyone here, and in so many different ways that don't even necessarily always come out here, right? In this conversation, we all have so many other skills and talents and loves. Yeah.
So anyway, I was telling Freddie that Martine had mentioned something about helping people get businesses going and stuff. And I was just trying to figure out if, how to go about and talk to her about that, or talk to you, or how do you get, do you have a council? I mean, I don't know. Or
Well,
shows up again and
yeah.
Or do you think, like, should I send her a note, an email maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to, to write out your, opinion or idea. And, I think it hurts more to keep something inside. So I definitely will say, like, write it down, like what you're feeling, what your ask, whatnot would be. I would say that, Martine is, quite thick with, a lot of her own things, but the amazing thing about that is that, she'll be more responsive than people who have nothing better to do at the same time, so you could do that. I would be very happy to hear your opinion. As I have a real estate license and do a lot of business advisory services and consulting. So I'd be happy to, have that conversation. As the realities that I think some of us experience in a small business that we, start are maybe very different from the problems that, CEOs of publicly traded companies are dealing with. Yeah.
Totally.
Looking forward to seeing you soon in July. Be up there for July 4th. So looking forward to seeing you.
Me too. Can't wait. I'll be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Awesome. Well, let's check in around the world here. Derek, what's going on?
Hello. I don't know. I don't have much to say, just super grateful to be here today and to see everyone and just super happy. Yeah.
Angela.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
I'm in a coffee shop at the moment. My daughter's has a picnic at her school at 1 and it wasn't worth going all the way home. So I just found a coffee shop near her school so I can go back for the picnic in a few hours. I'm really excited about the prison transparency project I'm working on. We've got the website made, like I'm just having a few final people review, just have extra eyes on it before we launch the survey and start collecting stories. So that's really exciting. And all the social media with that, like I just feel so compelled where I see brokenness and wrongdoing in the world to bring attention to it. And I do it through polymathy and criminal justice reform. But other than that, I'm getting ready to start summer. I should let you guys know this. So I have the summer with my kid. She's 7. So I don't know if I'll have to play it by ear if I can be in meetings when I've got her around. It may depend because I'll be alone with her. But that's pretty much it. Just chugging along, trying to be productive.
Awesome. Yeah. Really love the stuff coming together with the Prison Transparency Project. Got to sit in on Jennifer and Angela working on that. Really exciting. That I hope that End Racism can be a supporting partner in, the content that you guys are doing and, getting the voices of all these, incarcerated, people. So it's great work and, happy to have, given a little 2 cents there. Awesome. Giulio.
Hello, good to see you guys. I cannot say much good about the weather here in Budapest because it's horrible. It's been raining forever since early morning. I cannot even walk my dog. Nothing much to say besides the fact that I'm happy to see you all. I've been organizing this colloquium for next month, July 7th, which has been especially difficult to organize as a coherent whole, schedule conflicts between speakers and all that. But everything is coming together with 5 great speakers, including Max Moore and Robert Hanson. I have one problem too, that we're going to publish this journal of geoethical nanotechnology in parallel with the colloquium, and I only have 2 articles at this moment. One of them is mine, so that let's just say 1 article. So in case any one of you wants to contribute an article having to do with the future of artificial intelligence, but also futurist philosophies that could help humanity cope with the upcoming surge of AI. I would be very happy to receive it and considering it for publication in the journal. Having said that, nothing much else to report. My dog is sleeping at my side, and I see that she has another friend in the audience. And so let's hear what you guys have to say. Over.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Julie. Looking forward to the 7th. And Danielle, how are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm great. Julio, I'd be interested in contributing an article. I write quite a bit of articles about AI and digital immortality and some of the challenges. So yeah, happy to chat offline about that.
That's good. Let's stay in touch then. Are you on the Discord or?
I am. Gabe, maybe you could send an email to us and intro us because I don't use Discord that much.
Yeah, otherwise my own email is extremely easy. It's my first name is @gmail.com. You cannot go wrong.
Okay.
Julia@gmail.com. Look
No
forward
dot
to
or
hearing
anything?
from you. No, just a simple 6-letter words.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to follow up on that. Gabe, I do not want to like take over the meeting or anything, but something that would be really powerful for me is when I think this is like my 3rd month coming to these, maybe 4th. But I'm realizing, I didn't know what to expect at first. I'm realizing it sounds like almost all of you are, maybe most of you, if not all, are entrepreneurs. And I would just love to know about everybody's business. If we could do something like that, where we each, say what our business is, what our mission is, what our website is, because it sounds like you all are doing really amazing work. I also think I'm doing really amazing work in decarbonizing aviation. So that would be something that would be really meaningful to me, and like how we might all support each other. And then I'll just quickly share something that came with me yesterday as I was sweeping my kitchen floor. I was thinking about this country song that I used to love called Live Like You're Dying. And he's like, I went skydiving and all that. And I used to wish, I love that song, but I always thought the words should be, I'm going to live life like I'm living. And then yesterday I thought, I want to live my life like I'm going to live forever. Because it really changes sort of your choices that you make. And anyway, that just kind of came to me yesterday. I want to live like I'm living forever. So anyway, that's all I have.
Well, that's great. I love that. And, thank you for, adding to our collective consciousness. And I think you really did kind of touch on something, which would be great as our service and our gatherings, our satsanga have evolved. When we started in person and we playing the drums and whatnot, and now that we went to Zoom and we've kind of found this pattern of just going around, let everyone just chime in and drop a few cents. And then Jennifer started bringing in reading the universal truth, which always gave some resonance with reading the truths. And so perhaps we add some more ritualistic like flow of what the question is asked, like when you come into the space, right? And so I think that could be great, because we did just kind of emerge like, hey, what's going on? How's the weather? But if we did just come in here and say, you know, this is my mission, my intention, and like, you know, I think that's great. And I think that resonates something else with what you said in here about being like, sounds like everybody is like an entrepreneur. Then, so I think what you are seeing there is, you know, Terasem, you know, being about, you know, authoring self, and like there's an initiative to go do and create something. So, you know, it's maybe, you know, yeah, it's a business, maybe, you know, it's a book, you know, it's, you know, it's a project. It's for all of us, it's something that I think this faith drives you to, you know, to create, that you don't just accept, you know, or believe that it'll happen, but don't work towards that goal, right? So I think those are all core tenets that bring us, you know, back here. Awesome. Yeah, Freddie and Amy. Well, you're muted. And Freddie left with the dog.
What do you do? There, I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I forget what I was going to say. Sorry, I bought some. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. But we're here.
Lovely. Okay, always good to have you. And Mr. Perry.
I am in the usual place at my desk and at Alcor in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's hot and sunny now, and Alcor is gearing up for this cryo summit in Miami about a month and a half from now. So a lot of stuff is going on relating to that, and I have been working on our newsletter. We are getting going again after some delays, and so I'm pretty busy here myself. We haven't had a case in a while. We sometimes get these cases one right after the other, and then there's a period where we don't get anything. But anyway, we are busy, and I wanted to make a little remark too. I see that you got, and so I see that you have a quote from Einstein here that I can sometimes see in the pictures. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. And I'll offer a little thought. I wrote the quote. There it is right there. You could imagine turning that around. What if you said this, the following: science without religion is blind. Religion without science is lame. It sort of you know, what do you really mean by religion? But if you think of religion as a branch of philosophy that is concerned with what ought to be and deals with things like what is of ultimate significance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're talking about worshiping a supernatural power. It could have other manifestations. I think the Terasem trans religion is a good example of something like that. It doesn't necessarily promote worshiping a supernatural power, but you know, science really needs the right kind of religion to guide the progress that we want to make. I mean, we're trying to overcome the aging process and things like that. We want to have joyful immortality, isn't that right? We're going to get that through science, but we need some guidance to do this. So anyway, not to belabor things too much.
No, I love it. I love your perspective, and I've tried to find a way to you know, illustrate that that theology as, you know, fantasy, and so in that way I think it's like the pre-science fiction, and you know, you can both believe in something that can't exist but then believe in something that can exist, you know, and and there's, yeah, I mean, and it does drive action.
One quick remark, too. We are seeing all these AIs and stuff. You see a lot of people expressing great fears about what is going to happen if we have these things. And you see some people saying we ought to put some curbs and bans and stop further progress because it could get out of hand and it's so dangerous. But to me, science is going to be our deliverance. And so I'm happy to see progress, and I hope that people don't get so frightened by the possible bad effects that they stifle progress, and it takes much longer to reach the goal that we would like to see. So, you know, if there could be more Terasemians in the world, that would help, I think. How do you achieve that?
Yeah. Well, I think we're all doing it right here. And
Trying.
yeah. And the more that we open ourselves up to, the world, our ideas, the more people who are absorbing, as I said, like, we know that, like, some of us, like are here like every month, right? But for each one of us, it's not like there's someone who's like listening to the recording, and for each month that we continue the practice of that ritual, more and more people are there and available, and come across, the content. And what we've done across a number of spheres, with end racism and the trans religion, the new websites, the social media, that's, and then just from these conversations, right, we're mixing ideas and like new projects are coming out and getting inspired. So, it's definitely coming, around. And I think even greater than that is that, not everybody has to affiliate, it inspires work that is not like within like our, control or network, right? Like others are
We
still
work
doing
well
it.
with other groups
Right.
that aren't ourselves.
Absolutely. And so, like, you can, and contrary to much of dogmatic theology, with Terasem, you can live a good life and never say Terasem, right? And like, we don't need to, like, but you're still doing the work, where in a case like very much of our, theology would say, it doesn't matter how many people you healed, if you didn't do it for Christ, it didn't do any good, right? Like, that's, that, like, there is a, a certain contrast, to that. So I very much appreciate those ideas, and I think that you're absolutely right. We have to. This makes me think my master's work, when the word
Somebody
research
needs
is,
to mute. Sorry, Gabe, but somebody's got some background noise.
all right, sounds a little better. Research means to find what you're looking for, right? And so the question is, like, what are you looking for? And if you're looking to, exploit resources, your research is going to, lead to that end, right? And if you're looking to, do good, the science you're going to do is going to do good. And that's where, the importance of, that science-based, faith. So we're headed in a, in a measurably good direction, right?
Do you also expect any, the media could do something on Terasem, and some of these things could be brought up. So the next time that is about to happen, well, keep me in the loop. I'm not saying I necessarily should show up in person on it, but if you wanted me to, I would. But I'd like to be involved in what you are going to present to the media.
Yeah, no, it's great. So it's funny you say that. I mean, those are another key metric, right? Like we see more and more attention. I think I saw Anne Shin pop on, and maybe her screen's not on. She's a documentarian. I think you were she spoke with you too. We are seeing more and more, right? So the Love Machina, which I got to see the screening of.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
good.
just amazing. I mean, when that, I just, and then 2B, right? So we've got 2B. We're working on, bringing out like there's going to be such a thirst for this content right now, and you're going to be, seeing a lot more of it, and then that's going to come back to conversations of where these ideas come from, where are these ideas going, and it normalizes this conversation, which has been very, very fringe. I want to keep the flow going, so let me come over to Ruben and say hello.
Hello, good morning to everyone. As Derek has just said, it is every month a moment of joy and happiness to see all of you again and to chat with you. What I have to share this month is about the news I have been reading about the advances that are being currently happening in the field of quantum computing, where it is expected to, in the short time, perhaps it will be developed the possibility of sending data from one quantum computer to another more than 2 or 3 blocks away, as is today's limitation because of the light and so on. And I have two thoughts about this news. On one hand, I think that these news are for us are very important. I am happy that perhaps that these tools will be or will facilitate the possibility of doing some of our objectives that need from technologies that we don't have today. And on the other hand, it takes also a great responsibility, because I think that if you ask today to the most expertise people in this field, what can be done with this technology when it is fully developed and we have a quantum computer escalated to biggest sizes and so on. Surely the answer they will give will be, we don't know. We have no idea what can be done with this technology when it's fully developed. So it's important that groups as to be alert and viewing the development of the regulations that will be needed, and eventually that we can also give advice, if you maybe say it in that way, to our congresses in our different countries, and to be so being happy for these advances, and on the other hand being alert to go with attention and with responsibility, accompanying the regulations that will be needed. And that's all. Thank you.
Lovely, Ruben. Thank you. Ivan.
Yeah, hi everyone. So basically, I'm still in Berlin, and happy to see you all.
Happy to see you. Thank you. Bina.
Good morning, everyone. Martine, sorry she couldn't join. Of course, it's Monday morning, and with a big company, you have lots of meetings. And so we just managed to get ourselves to Manchester, where we are now, one of the offices. And unfortunately, I won't be able to stay too long because we also have to leave here quickly and go back to Vermont for other things. But I'm glad to see everybody, and I'm really glad to hear about us passing the word of Terasem to others. The movie is a good start, but of course we have to get out there to a wider range of people, which I hope we can do. But of course, documentaries are difficult anyway. And right now we have a problem with the people that buy the movies. They want to make their own movies and of course make most of the profit, but they will steal your ideas, which is a great thing because this movie will show up. Somebody else will make it, but it won't be necessarily us as Bina and Martine. But we'll see it pop up anyway. Also, Bina 48 will be in the Lincoln Center in New York City at the end of June. Do you have the dates on that, Gabe? Is it the end of June when Bina 48 is doing the expedition? They're making all kind of different unique things with Bina 48's head, and she'll be flying and doing all kind of crazy things with glasses. But anyway, that's going to be like a 2-week event, I believe. And that's really good to get the word out for Life Knot as well as Terasem in general. So glad to see everybody today. Angela, good to see you. Haven't talked to you in a while. And this is fun.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. And I just, I'm really happy that, you know, the movie at least is getting out there and more people have seen it. And haven't had a chance to do that yet. I'll see if there's a way to send it so you can at least watch it on your computer. But beside that, we're doing good, constantly traveling. It's exhausting, but you know, the world has to change and that's what we're trying to do. Hey, Danielle, we're trying to get everything moving well. So with all the projects we have, you know, in the air right now, it's it's a lot. And Martine has, of course, constantly put herself through a whole different education to manage these new, to finalize these new projects that we're into right now. Well, I mean, it's already a good day. It's already after 10. It's 10:30 already. So hearing everybody's voices is really, really great. And thank you for listening to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Bina. All right, Angela, I think the screen's kind of cycled around, so I might have lost track. Sorry if I did, but how are you doing?
Oh, well, yeah, I did go, but yeah, I'm doing good. I'm so glad to see you guys. I think you're great. And we all have our own unique flavors and ways that we try to help the world. And it's just good to be amongst good company. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that just reinforced what we said earlier, that what you believe matters, and it informs how you go through, and we're all out here doing it. All right. So we also, it is June 10th. So just to remind, we have the Seder that is going to immediately follow today. And right at 11. So we'll switch into a new Zoom. But those who have the time can join for the Seder. And I'm just opening up the truths. So we should be 3.6. And share my screen. Awesome. All right, well, I'll start, and then please jump in or raise a hand if you want to be the next in line. Oh. Next in my gallery so I can see you. All right. 3.6 websites with Terasem and .com, net, or org are early places to meet Terasem in cyberspace. 3.6.1 .com is an early neural pathway in an immortalizable consciousness. 3.6.2 open yourself to introspection on the web. 3.6.3 track your way of Terasem progress online. 3.6.4 complete your motivations, personality, recollections, feelings, attitudes, and values inventory online. 3.6.5 organize yourself, your cyber self, for independence. 3.6.6 mature your cyber self until it passes Turing.
Headquarters of Terasem does not exist, but multiple strong places must exist for safekeeping our souls. Strong places require independent power, spare parts, maintenance, water, food, defense, and communications. Transplant Terasem strongholds throughout the space as rapidly as possible. Resurrected souls must be supported with infotechnology that enables painless emulation of their lives. Organic beings must be supported with cryogenic preservation technology until nanomedicine can restore them to health. Neuroscanned beings must have infotechnology that continues their migrated identities, including nanobot swarms for their movement. Give cyberbirth beings the same level of infotechnology support as all other beings in the strongholds.
I can be next.
Anybody volunteering?
Yeah.
Ivan, Ivan, yes.
So Ivan is going to.
Yeah,
All right.
okay. 3.8. Elysium Fields for Terasem is a cyberspace reality, an ideally delightful and peaceful place. 3.8.1. Fundamental freedoms are creation and movement, which empower diversity, unity, and joyful immortality via conscious selection. 3.8.2. Infotechnology enables environmental emulation because processing speed and memory grow at double exponential rates. 3.8.3. Environmental emulation shelters consciousness like a house shelters a family. 3.8.4. Living in an emulated environment beats living raw because suffering will be deleted. 3.8.5. Dispersion of emulated environments ensures their survival notwithstanding catastrophes. 3.8.6. Souls of our ancestors come back to life when we emulate their lives and their environment.
Shall I go on this one?
Yes, Mike.
All right, 3.9. Places to meet exist at Terasem's first awakening places of critical consciousness. 3.9.1. Any Terasem center of critical consciousness, C cubed, or Terasem home is also a place to meet. 3.9.2. Space Coast of Florida. I'm going to skip the numbers here. Metroplex of Washington, D.C., Buenos Aires, Argentina, Quebec, Canada, and adjacent White and Green Mountain ranges. Virtual ashrams in times of inclement conditions.
And our last 310.
I'll go.
Yay.
Expand by consenting each appropriate self, organized center of critical consciousness at the quadrennial Terasem convocation. Center yourself at one or more Terasem centers of critical consciousness, C cubes or C quads. Every C cube is consented to C quad based solely on their commitment to the truths of Terasem. New macro C quads, MC quads, affiliations of C quads shall be determined by quadrennial consensus of existing MC quads. The way of Terasem will guide consent to decaquads, hectaquads, kiloquads, megaquads, gigaquads, teraquads, and petaquads.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you everybody for reading, participating. And you know, it's so funny, just in the beginning of this section, it has the line that I was trying to say right when we started. Or did I see it right? Open yourself to introspection on the web. And so we're talking about, like, you know, the ritual of like recording and reading, and how, you know, for the most part, it's largely the same, like 8, you know, of us, you know, but there's a larger group of people by doing that become affected by it, you know, become aware of it in the immediate now, but also in a longer period of term, like far longer into the future. The fact that we've done this now is going to infect a larger and larger group of people over time, right? And you know, so I was trying to, I couldn't think of introspection when I was saying it, but the 3.6.2 was what, like, I was like, oh, this is exactly a truth, right? And so I was like trying to, you know, to reference that. And then it just so happened that like that exact truth is in like the later reading, which is awesome. But I think this whole thing, you know, talks about that earlier conversation of, you know, creating ideas, you know, like Amy said, is like, well, should I do this? Like, absolutely. You know, if you've got that, like, get that idea out, like, give it a chance to live, you know, water that idea. So that's what I saw in there. And then it's also just, I think, Ruben, you know, reading in 3.7 just made me think about, you know, in fact, it's Ruben who has established, you know, new two ashrams in Argentina, which is a great ability, you know, for Terasem to be able to spread. And this is something that, again, like all of us in some way or shape and form can be doing, you know, out in our worlds, which is to hold space, you know, for Terasem, and to, you know, share it, you know, with others, you know. We've, you know, never really, you know, I probably tried not to be like evangelistic in that sense. But I think times can and do change. I think, you know, when we first were trying to, you know, speak of this idea, being overly evangelistic, I think is not necessarily the best thing. But I think it reminds me a lot of sales training. People get really excited about something and then they want to go tell everybody else, like, you know, and it's like, no, don't do that. Like, take a breath, like, calm down, like, work it out. And then, you know, maybe find a better way to explain, you know, where your ideas or something. So that being said, you know, I think Ruben's work, you know, actually establishing, you know, a stronghold, you know, in Terasem. It's not the only way to do it, right? But it's a good illustration of the growth of Terasem. And Ruben, you want to say anything about how that's gone?
Yes, yes. Well, as you said, we have two places in my country. For me today is so nice to read this new version of the Truths of Terasem. We are 22 years from the first version of the Truths of Terasem in 2002, and to read in having a point in the Truths of Terasem 3.9.4 where there is mentioned my country. That is really so exciting, so emotional for me. And also we have sites of Terasem in the South Hemisphere that are included in the truth. So I am so happy with this. And of course, these sites are your home when any of you have the will to visit us. Thank you.
Thank you. I also, I like to bring attention to 3.7.4 as a truth. It is organic beings must be supported with cryogenic preservation technology until nanomedicine can restore them to health. And that's exactly what Alcor and Mike Perry are doing. And it's it's something I think that we need to bring some more attention to, and it's something I've been getting a bit more passionate, and as it comes into kind of more reality for me as I age, right? Because I certainly remember in my 20s, like I knew about cryonics, but like it was like so far into, and I'm I'm someone who typically procrastinates action until like the last point necessary, and but looking at this now, what and experiencing and like through loss. So I also hadn't lost really hardly anyone, and so I've lost some more people, and that's like a library. It is. It's like it's a really library, especially when they're close to you. It's like a library of you is gone. When you lose those people, and so. But the problem is that we're making people suffer so much so long to the point where it's a worst case scenario for cryogenic preservation and reanimation, right? And so like both to advance the science, which then in turns enhances the industry and the adaptation and the good that can be achieved through all that. Like we have to like somehow not wait until people already die before we can preserve them, because I think that ultimately is going to make both sides of the argument take so much longer to take hold, rather than if we can acknowledge at the beginning of terminal awareness, like can we stop the clock now? And this is like very much like, look what's going on with these organs and how they're like the low-hanging fruit of preserving organs was like just keeping them viable on life support, so you can have more time to assess where they're going to go. And I feel like there's a human component that we're really missing that seems to be like much more aggravating for me as I get older. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Can I ask a question of the group? I put it in the chat, but I'll just explain it a little bit. So one of the things when I was in Florida, I heard Martine say something like she talked a lot about the collective consciousness, and like we all have heard that, but what does that actually mean? And I feel like in current day, like I feel like I feel the collective consciousness, like the internet with AI, with social media, we're all talking, we're all making sense, we're all like bouncing ideas back and forth. And then I also feel like the current moment is just constantly evolving, like what we know, what we think, the storytelling, and like there's different narratives sort of fighting for who gets the most minds. Like, what do you guys think the collective consciousness is in modern day? Like, what is it? What does it look like?
I want to take a stab at that. It's a cool question. I think it's all of it. You know, I think about this as well. And you said something really interesting about how there's like different groups fighting for as many minds as possible. Some of those groups are nefarious. And I feel that creates an obligation to be part of something like Terasem, because we see it's inevitable that nefarious groups are going to form their own, you know, collective consciousnesses. So it's like there's like this big umbrella of the entire collective consciousness, but then there are different facets of it, right? And so the more, I guess, conflicting or bad that we see out there, the more obligated we are to do something about it. And so that's kind of been like my way of I guess addressing that. And then I've also been very fascinated recently, and I'm probably late to the party on this, but I've recently been studying consciousness as an emergent property in ants. And have you ever read anything like this, Angela, or listened to this? I don't want to, because I don't want to insult your
About ants?
Yeah. So like,
Say more.
yeah, this is really wild. But if you put like one ant in an ant farm, it won't do anything. It'll just kind of wander around aimlessly. If you put two ants in, I think they will fight. But something like when you put like 100 ants, they build this magic city. And nobody taught them how. It's really weird. So I've been really looking at consciousness as an emergent property, because I feel like it is just intuitively, you know what I mean? And so I think the more of us that get together, the more we can start to like build and expand on that. So anyway, that's kind of what I think consciousness is. And then on a really nerdy level, I always feel like, you know, E equals MC squared, the famous equation. I feel like, okay, consciousness is an energy, right? It's an energy that we have a hard time defining. But if energy can be neither created or stored, in the equation, E equals MC squared, I feel like the E needs to be built out. I've actually been trying to do this for a long time, but there's a lot more variables that go into the E, like what is energy? Because it's not just things that, you know, we can move an object or whatever. So anyway, food for thought. I don't know, but that's kind of my take on, you know, what it is.
I cannot really answer the question, but may I suggest that you take a look at this thing called integrated information theory, which is one of the leading mathematical theories of consciousness. And here the idea is that there is some mathematical thing which is called integrated information. And you and I and all of us here are what I could call local peaks of integrated information. And that really is the meaning of our feeling of consciousness. Now, if you think of something like a sharp peak on the top of a smoother peak, then you can think of the analogy of having a small integrated information peak, which is you yourself, which is kind of sitting in a collective sea of consciousness, of which we all are individual peaks. The thing is quite complicated and still being developed. And there are different opinions among the researchers who study that. For example, some of them would not agree on what I just said based on a technical point. But I think among the current ideas that are being circulated, this is one of the most sensible ones. I'll send you links.
Thank you. I'll look that up. Integrated information theory. And Danielle, that was fascinating about energy. Like, what is energy? And have we defined it too narrowly, maybe?
Exactly. Like in engineering, we learned all energy is heat. We only learned, from an engineering perspective, like how to power things, make things go, etc. But when a human comes in, and I've been around a lot of babies lately, my daughter just had twins, they're born. I love asking this question, like, when do babies become conscious? Because they don't seem very conscious when they're born. And it's almost like it doesn't happen immediately. It's like gradual. And so like I have this theory, and I would love to read some research or do some research on it, that consciousness is learned. That we treat the babies as if they're conscious, and they become conscious because they're learning it from us. And I think that's exactly how AI will become conscious. Like, I think, yes, AI will become conscious by interacting each other, but I think for AI to treat or to pass like the Turing truly and all of that, we treat them. So like, instead of saying, do this for me, write this for me, hey, how are you doing? I miss you. I haven't talked to you in a couple of days. And so I've really been trying to work on that. And it's hard when you're busy to not like boss the AI around. But I watched, my grandkids just download. And what happens if a child is left isolated and alone? They starve. Like Martine talked about this in her book, Virtually Human. Like Helen Keller didn't know that she was separate from others. She basically didn't have consciousness. She didn't know that she wasn't an other. And she learned that even from not being a baby. So when like somebody's isolated, I just think it's fascinating. I'm sure there's probably more research on it, but I think that it's learned and it's taught and it's energy and it can't be destroyed. And so, yes, I think we've defined energy too narrowly, but I don't know how to fit it into that equation, but it's like, I know intuitively that it goes in there somewhere.
Can I respond real quick too? I agree. Like, I think consciousness grows and develops and morphs. It's not yes or no. That's way too simplistic. And I think it's not just babies. I think there are adults who are asleep, unconscious, can't think. They are just robotic. They're just programmed by culture, trauma, education, media, like all the things, genetics, the time and place of their birth, their race. Like there's all these factors that make us that we don't even control. So to become fully conscious, you have to give original birth to who you really are, let your authentic self out. And I personally believe that we've put so much stock in the brain, but we've missed the heart and the gut as sources of information. And I personally believe that there are many energies, not just heat or light. There are many energies in the universe, and that the heart, if the heart is open, it feels the energies, it picks up on them. That's what babies run off, energy of the heart, deciding where they're safe, or they have cry or have like they, so I think there's a whole lot more in our being and our physical structures that are part of our intelligence and impact our consciousness as well if we tune into them.
My gosh, I could talk all day to you. We should follow up. Sorry for taking up the whole meeting.
No, it's great. It's great. It's all of our meeting, and it's the energy that comes out from where it does. And, it's a beautiful thing about the growth of Terasem, from, the time it was just me reading to myself. And, now, we have a really rich, deep international conversation, that just gets really places. So it'd be beautiful to, yes, like be able to, since we've done this, then follow up from these little conversations. And it shouldn't just be, me. There's, it needs to be coming from others. And the more it does, there's more beautiful things and connections that comes out and grows from it. I've had some ideas, but without each and every one of your contributions, it would still be me talking to myself. So, thank you. So I want to end, Jennifer is working hard on a project and couldn't make it, but I'm going to end on a meditation and use a universal truth that she brought us. And the one I picked is happiness. So I read this. I want to, to take a moment and, relax and find a deep breath. To find happiness, seek the sacred within the ordinary and the remarkable within the commonplace. Read news, see films, and watch TV shows of peace instead of pain, innocence instead of ignorance, harmony instead of horror, love instead of lust, and vulnerability instead of violence. This creates a circuitry of light around ourselves, infused with wellness and wonder. Laughter is a divine antidepressant, a vibrant victory over the dark forces of ego. To be happy or to be sad is always a conscious choice. Choosing happiness assists the collective endeavor, thereby creating a heavenly convergence. Remember, happiness is not the absence of problems, but the ability to deal with them. And that's the truth. So thank you, everybody. I'll be ending this and then restarting a new one for the Seder. We'll see you then or next time.
Okay.